Now, conscious life leadership is about being more attuned to the greater environment and the context around you, but also being to a greater extent connected to the inner, deeper core being of yourself, your true nature. And once you collect that information and you are making yourself aware and sensitive to these types of data, to these types of information, then you have collected such an enormous amount of useful data based on which you can respond in a thoughtful way, as opposed to the one that's not conscious about these things, and they will experience something in the outer world and there will just be an immediate reaction, not thoughtful, not the best option at all. I mean, haphazardly, it could happen to be a good reaction, but probably not. So once that we attune ourselves to this and we become conscious life leaders, then like the bluefin tuna, which scientists cannot explain how it navigates, it just moves with such swiftness through the waters and can change direction with such flexibility and swiftness, then we too can navigate in these social relations, and we too can, create engagement both with employees and end users, customers, students, whichever are our end users in the organizations, and we can create that level of creativity and that level of engagement and inspiration with the people around us. So it becomes a whole different story. Getting to, coming to work each day and engage in these conversations with other people that have left behind their egoic self. They're not talking about or worried about where did the idea come from or who had the best idea. No, we just want to get this idea going. And we want to, develop it and explore it and see how can we act on it and move this idea into real life and have a true impact. That's when we feel the energy of what is going on in organizations. But we need to train leaders to create this type of energy, because if you don't feel it in yourself, you can never hope to create it out in the external world, because as a leader you cannot go any deeper with the external world or with people in your life than you dare to do with your own self. You can't go any further than your self-inquiry. You need to know your own values, to understand other people. You need to be an authentic person, to hope to be able to create authentic relationships between yourself and some other employer or another leader, but also among all the different people out there in the organization. That's why I would like to invite you to talk more about conscious life leadership, and I want you to consider that we no longer talk about horizontal leadership development where we just give leaders another tool and another tool and another tool, because we're not going to help the leader that are all of a sudden finding him or herself in a situation where they need to find a solution, and they're standing with a hammer and the problem looks nothing like a nail. But if we instead train our leaders to understand social relations, to understand what's going on in the inner life and how can we make great matches in the outer life, in the external life, so that we can gather and be aware to gather as much information that we can make a qualified decision as to how can we best help this situation, how can we best help these people to overcome these challenges that they are facing. Then there's no problem too great, and there's no challenge that we cannot face and make perhaps even a better situation out of. So we can start to appreciate these challenges, because those are what push us. They push us to become even better. But we need this awareness, and we need this conscious life leadership where we dare to talk about emotional intelligence, we dare to talk about spiritual intelligence, and where we move away from talking about this leadership development where we give leaders another tool, and instead lift mindsets, right? We have to shift into a higher mindset. where we are attuned to what's going on within ourselves, and we are totally attuned to the context and the environment in which that we are agents, and where we have to find solutions to challenges every day and best help the people, to create on their own, because that's when the magic starts.